watched on an emotional roller coaster ride that left fans, players, and coaches drained when it was over. This is the way it happened.
Right from the starting gun, there were fireworks as Oakland's Carl Garrett took the opening kickoff on the one and burned it back 40 yards. But there was to be no scoring on this series, or until late in the first quarter for that matter, mostly because of number 8 Ray Guy, whose booming kicks, he punted twice in the first period, each time for 51 yards, kept Baltimore pinned deep in their own territory. There is no doubt Guy is the premier punter in all of football, perhaps the best ever, and his value to the Raiders is immense. The Colts never did extricate themselves from Guy's punting barrage, but did come close on a bomb from Jones to Freddie Scott that was beautifully played by number 24, 15-year veteran Willie Brown, one of the great cornerbacks in the game. Late in the quarter, Jones was sacked by John Matusak on his own 5-yard line, and Baltimore was forced to punt from deep in its end zone. The result was fine field position for the Raiders, and Kenny Stabler was quick to exploit it. The big play was provided by setback Clarence Davis, number 28, who tore over left guard and ran 30 yards for the first score of the game. Another look at this clutch play by a player who makes a habit of them shows that the little halfback from USC broke several tackles on his way to the end zone. But Oakland's 7-0 lead was short-lived. For less than 2 minutes into the second quarter, the snake was bitten by the Baltimore defense. Number 40, strong safety Bruce Laird, stepped in front of Mark Van Egan and streaked 61 yards for the tying touchdown. With the score knotted at 7, the defenses of both these high-caliber football teams took turns slugging it out for most of the remainder of the second quarter. Stabler was denied access to the air by a Colts secondary that is not rated among the best, while Burt Jones was constantly hurried and harassed by the Raiders' strong 3-4. This painful sack was just one of 6 the Ruston Rifle would suffer on this bright Christmas Eve afternoon. With both offenses impotent for much of the second quarter, Oakland's Stabler was undershooting some of his passes on this day, which saw temperatures reach 51 degrees and the condition of the grassless field good and dry. Then, with 7 minutes left in the half, Burt Jones and the Baltimore attack began moving the ball for the first time, going from their own 20 to the Raider 19. But there the rally ended when on third down, number 32, Jack Tatum, just missed picking one off. Baltimore's Ted Marchibroda called on Tony Linhart, who delivered a 36-yard field goal that put the Colts ahead by 3. Now, with less than 2 minutes left in the half, the Raiders came roaring downfield on the arm of the Snake. Mark Van Egan brought the ball to the Baltimore 23, and Oakland had plenty of time to go for 6. But with a golden opportunity to score, Clarence Davis lost the ball and the Colts recovered. Closely contested first half ended with John Madden's Raiders on the short end of a 10-7 score. The second half, the tempo of the game increased sharply. On Oakland's first series, Stabler let go with a bomb to Cliff Branch, who had raced ahead of Nelson Muncie, number 31. The play was good for 41 yards and had taken a great leaping catch by the All-Pro receiver from Colorado. Branch was ruled down where he landed, and on the very next play, Van Egan, sprung by a block on Muncie by Branch, gained 16 yards to the Baltimore 12. Two plays later, Stabler calmly passed to tight end Dave Casper for the touchdown that gave the Raiders a 14-10 advantage. But as the saying goes, not for long. On the kickoff following Casper's touchdown, Marshall Johnson, an obscure wide receiver from the University of Houston, took a short kickoff, skirted the wedge, and was off to the races. 87 yards to put Baltimore right back in the lead. Leading by 3 again, the Colts came up with a big play on the next series when Bruce Laird intercepted Stabler for the second time, and the Colts had the ball in Raider territory. Here, the Oakland defense got tough, very tough. And on 4th and 20, David Lee went back to punt. For the second time in 3 weeks, the result was disastrous for the Colts. In the season's next to last game, Detroit had beaten Baltimore on a blocked Lee punt. This time, the Raiders recovered at the Colts 16. But the effect was just as damaging, for 3 plays later, Stabler, off a pump fake, found Dave Casper all alone over the middle and sidearmed the ball to him for his second touchdown catch of the game. Oakland now led this seesaw battle 21-17. The Colts and Raiders had combined for 21 points in under 4 minutes, 4 points more than they had scored in the entire first half. But the pace slowed momentarily, however, as neither team could score on its next possession, although each did move into the other's side of the field. Freddie Scott's juggling, painful catch began the Colts' drive with a 19-yard gain, and repeat reveals what a remarkable catch Scott made. Scott had a tenuous grasp on the ball at best when Monty Johnson wasted him. But Scott, who was again filling in for Roger Carr, has sure hands, and his great catch makes it hard to believe that on the very next play, he didn't appear to have any hands at all. Though the Colts reached the Raider 35 and Oakland made it to the Baltimore 37, neither could score. But early in the fourth quarter, the Colts began another point deluge. Jones passed brilliantly on the drive, working number 35 Glenn Doughty outside and Lydell Mitchell in between the Oakland pass coverage zones. With 41 yards worth of completions, Jones had the Raiders rocked back on their heels, and after 4 runs gained 28 more yards, Jones went for the touch with another pass. Though Lester Hayes appears to be exulting after a good play, he was actually reacting to a pass interference call made against him that gave Baltimore a first down on the Oakland 1-yard line. The Raiders, Monty Johnson in particular, did not quite see eye to eye with the officials, for the penalty set up Baltimore for an almost certain 6 points. But the points did not come easily. The fired-up Raider defense did not give an inch on 3 cracks from the 1-yard line. And even on the 4th, Ron Lee was not sure he had made it either. Lee had made it, however. Baltimore led 24-21, and the race was on again. It would take the Raiders just 5 plays to get the touchdown back, as they too were aided by a pass interference call when Nelson Muncy backed into Cliff Branch. And Oakland had a first down on the Baltimore 1. The Raiders, unlike the Colts, had no struggle getting into the end zone. On the next play, designated touchdown scorer Pete Banaszak, number 40, charged over the Colt goal line, and Oakland had reclaimed the lead 28-24. Now it was Baltimore's turn on the upside of the seesaw battle. They used only 4 plays to go 73 yards for another touchdown. The first play of the drive was a 30-yard pass to Raymond Chester, and a look from the end zone reveals how well Jones used his tight end, waiting for number 87 to break past number 58 Monty Johnson, then dropping the ball over the beaten Oakland middle linebacker. Jones now centered his attentions on running back Ron Lee, who got all of the remaining 43 yards of the drive on just 3 plays. The first was a 16-yard pass reception, followed by a 14-yard run around the Raider right side. Lee, a second-year man from West Virginia, has become a very valuable Colt. At 6'4", 228 pounds, he is the biggest Baltimore back, but also the fastest, and he polished off the Colt drive from 13 yards out. A repeat of Lee's touchdown reveals another facet of his blossoming talent. The play was designed to go off tackle, but Lee found a hole elsewhere, made a quick and decisive cut, and found an easy path to 6 points. This time, the teams had used only 2.5 minutes to score 21 points. But Baltimore owned 2 of the 3 touchdowns and led 31-28. Leading by 3, the Colts later had a chance to run out the clock and dethrone the defending champions. But the Raiders are just that. League champions, and they made the plays on defense when they had to. The biggest offensive play was a 2nd and 10 with 2 minutes 17 seconds left. A 42-yard pass to superb tight end Dave Casper carried the Raiders to the Colt 14. And an end zone repeat reveals why Casper is an all-pro. In the most crucial of situations, Casper had to make what most receivers consider the toughest catch of all. Looking straight back, then catching the ball as it came down directly over his head. The Raiders were now within tying field goal range, and after 3 line smashes, they faced a 4th and 1 at the Colt 5-yard line, with 29 seconds left in regulation. For a time, John Madden pondered the possibility of going for the win right then and there. But if they didn't make it, their reign as champions would end by that 1 yard. And so with 29 ticks left, Errol Mann unlimbered his leg to try and tie the game with a 22-yard field goal. Like a man who does this sort of thing 3 times a day, Errol Mann pumped it through, and the game was tied 31-31 going into sudden death overtime. The coin toss was crucial, for neither team seemed to be able to stop the other consistently, and the first team with the ball might easily be the last team with the ball. The team with the ball would be the Colts, and the pressure now sat squarely on the Raiders.